Mr. Nick. Welcome back to another episode of String Project Online. Now, a very special announcement. On May 16th, we would love for you to join our Zoom meeting and perform a piece of your choice. And the choices of pieces would be Allegro, that Miss Carly has taught you, Perpetual Motion, that Miss Leah has taught you, and a third piece called Allegretto, which I will teach you today. Now, firstly, let's review the things that we've done. So before you watch this video, make sure that you have watched Miss Leah's warm-up video that's accompanying this, and do all the exercises. Make sure you're tuned, your bow is at the right tightness, and we can begin. So open your books to Allegro. It should be the 8th piece in your Suzuki Book 1. For me, I'm using the revised version. It's page 32, and I'm not sure which page it is in the non-revised version, but I'll give you a couple of seconds to look for it. It should be the 8th piece. And first, I'm gonna play it for you. 1, 2, 3. So briefly, I'm just going to go over, because Miss Carly has already taught you the important points here. I'm just going to go over just quick notes that you have to remember. Okay, firstly, it's the staccato. Now remember what we said in class. What does staccato mean? Correct, it means detached, that means separated. It doesn't just mean short, it means that there has to be space between notes, right? So when you play, there has to be space between the notes. All right? So if you're not used to staccato, just practice on an open string. All right? And followed by, in the second measure, we have a bit of legato there. And then staccato. Right? So be sure to pay attention where there is staccato and where there's legato. Now, measure 9, you have that bar over the note, which means tenuto. Exactly. So they have to mold into each other. They have to be very smooth. Right? Dolce, the word underneath, the F sharp underneath measure 9. What does dolce mean? It means sweet. It means very beautiful, very lovely, right? So make it as lovely as you can. I'm looking forward to hear some of you play that, okay? And then you have at the end of measure 12, a fermata, that you can hold your note as long as you want with a little pause. And then measure 13, a tempo, come right back in, okay? Now, perpetual motion. I'm gonna play it again for you. And play it 1, 2, ready, listen. So for this piece, There are no tempo changes, no ritardandos or a tempos. It's all one tempo. Similarly to Allegro, it's all staccato, right? Well, no, Allegro has tenutos as well as legatos. Perpetual motion is only staccato. Be careful of the G sharps and the C sharps, right? So that's high 2 on both the E string and the A string. Now, Miss Leah has probably taught you everything you need to know about this, but there's a variation which you will see at the bottom of the page of so perpetual motion, and it is in 16th notes, right? So how many 16th notes are there in an 8th note? The right answer should be 2, right? So listen carefully. 3, 4. It sounds almost exactly the same, except it's in 16th notes, so it sounds a little bit faster, but remember the tempo should still be the same. You don't need to start off at exactly the same tempo. In fact, if you take your metronome, and I have my handy dandy little metronome over here, you could use the mobile app. You just search metronome into the App Store on Apple phones or the Google Store, and you should be able to pull out a metronome. Now, you should set it to a quarter note equals to D. Right? Quarter note equals to 70. How many eighth notes in a quarter note? 2. So if we set this to a quarter note equals to 70, it should sound a little bit like this. 2, 3, 4. So do that with me, right? Quarter note equals to 70. I hope you can hear this. 1, 2, listen first. 1, 2, your turn. My turn. Your turn. My turn. Your turn. All right, so you get the general idea of what we're doing here. Now, I'm going to go through the variation, which is in 16th notes. In fact, you don't have to start at quarter note equals to 70. You can start at quarter note equals to 60, even, right? So I'm going to play for a little bit. You're going to repeat after me, okay? All right, very good. So, if you have made any mistakes or you're not sure about it, rewind this video and go through it with me again. Or in your own time, use the metronome. Okay? Now we said quarter note equals to 60 for a starting point. If it's still too fast for you, you can bring it lower. No shame in that. Okay? So one last thing about perpetual motion. Remember that when there is a 4, please try to use your fourth finger. I know some of you are not exactly used to it yet, but definitely try. Now, if you have issues with the fourth finger, bring the metronome lower. Okay? Or you can just practice. So 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, or even just. Now, we are going to move on to Allegretto, which for me, in the revised version, is page 35, but in all the books, it should be song number 10. All right, so first things first, you notice that all the notes have a staccato on them, and staccato means detached. Very good. Okay. Now, second thing you should notice is that it is not in the same key as perpetual motion or Allegro, right? Allegro and perpetual motion were both in A major, and Allegretto is in D major. Very good. Okay. So next thing you note is that it doesn't start on the downbeat. What do I mean by that? Downbeat is the first beat of the measure. So instead of starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, this one starts on the upbeat, which in this case means the fourth beat. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right? If you don't really understand that, that's okay. We'll get to it soon. So instead of starting on 1, you start on 4. Now let me play through it for you, and then we can dig right into the little details. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully that gives you a bit of a better understanding of upbeats and downbeats. Now, before we begin, I would like you to, on a D string, right, D string, do this exercise. So what's happening is that I use the whole length of the bow for the quarter notes, and then for the eighth notes, I use just a little bit, and then for the quarter notes, I go back to the frog, and then use for the 2/8 notes. Right, so it should be long, short, short, long, short, short, long, short, short, long. Now do it with me. Long, short, short, long. So we're going to start on the fourth beat. So it's short, short, long, short, short, long. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Short, short, long, short, short, long, short, short, long, short, short, long. Very good. Now, even though you still have a long note there, it is separated between the 2/8 notes, and that makes it staccato because it's detached, right? So beginning. Okay, so follow me, repeat after me. 1, 2, 3. One, two, go. One, two, go. Very good. So at this point, you see above the D that you just played, there is a little comma. What does that comma mean? It's a breath mark. So that's where you breathe. So that's where you stop and go. All right, so we carry on from there. So one beat before measure 5, and we call that the upbeat. Very good. 1, 2, listen. 1, 2, go. Very good. I did that a little bit longer, but I hope you are able to catch up. If not, just rewind and do it again. So one beat before measure 9. Let's keep going. 1, 2, listen. 2, 3. All right, so first thing, on an open string, I want you to use a D string. So short, long. Just open strings. Do that exercise with me. D, 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 G, 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 D, 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 G, G, G. And just keep going, okay? Now, keep note of the length of bow I'm using. I'm still using short, short, long, short, short, long, okay? 3, go. With me? If not, you should have. Now, next thing we note is that at measure 11, you'll see a little rit, which means ritardando, which means slow down. Okay? Now keep note of that. We're going to go over this again. And then at measure 12, you see the fermata again, which means hold. And the fermata, say it with me, fermata, is right next to a comma, and the comma is a breath mark. Very good. Okay, so starting one beat before measure 9 on the D, we're going to do the sequence again. Now I want you to play with me and follow me as we go into the rit and hold for as long as I hold the fermata. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, go. Very good. If you notice, I did a little decrescendo there because that's what's written in the music. Now, if we move on to one beat before measure 13, again called the upbeat. Okay, I'm going to play till the end and then please repeat after me. 1, 2, listen. One, 2, 3. Very good. Okay, so let's put it all together now. If you're still a little uncomfortable, please rewind and watch the video again. We will be able to catch up again. Okay, so starting from the beginning, play with me. If you're wondering about a metronome mark, you can start at about quarter note equals to 60, but I've been playing about quarter note equals to 70, so pretty much the same as perpetual motion. So play with me from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Very nice. So these 3.5, maybe 4 pieces that you will be allowed to choose for your performance on May 16th. Now I'm going to go through them again. Allegro, perpetual motion with a variation, and Allegretto. I'm going to play through all of them for you. You don't need to follow me, but this is just for your reference so that you will know what they sound like and which one you'd like the best. So this is Allegro. And then perpetual motion. And then with the variation, perpetual motion, 16th notes. And then finally, Allegretto, 2, 3. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I hope to see you this Saturday, and as always, please like and subscribe.